At 1:24 a.m. in Boston, two men walked up to a museum entrance dressed like police officers. They didn't sprint, they didn't whisper, they acted like they belonged there. And that was the trick. Within minutes, they were inside, the night guards were under control, and the thieves had something most criminals never get: time. Over the next hour, they removed artwork so valuable that the total is often estimated at up to $500 million. But here's what makes this case feel almost impossible. There was no dramatic shootout, no smashed vault, and no clean getaway caught on camera. Instead, the thieves left behind empty frames and a mystery that has survived rewards, raids, and decades of FBI attention. This is the $500 million ghost, America's most famous unsolved heist. This heist worked because it used two things that are hard to fight: routine and authority. The Gardner Museum wasn't chosen at random. Someone understood how the building worked, how security worked, and how people react when they believe they're dealing with police. The first move was the entire operation. Two fake officers at the door, a calm request to come inside, and one small moment of hesitation from a guard that changed everything. Once the thieves were in, they didn't need to rush. They controlled the situation, and control gave them time. And time is what makes a museum heist possible. Now here's where the story gets truly unsettling. They didn't grab the most obvious expensive items. They made specific choices, and they ignored other valuable pieces. That raises the question that still hangs over the case. Were they following a list, or did they already have a buyer in mind? Then the method becomes even stranger. Instead of carefully removing artwork like professionals who plan to sell it, they cut canvases out of frames and handled pieces in ways that caused damage. That's a clue, because stolen art isn't like stolen cash. You can't spend it in public. You can't hang it on your wall without risking everything. In the criminal world, stolen art often becomes leverage, something you trade, something you hold as collateral, something you use to bargain. And that leads to the detail that makes the case feel like a ghost story. The thieves left behind empty frames that, in a way, still mark the crime to this day. Crimes that leave symbols behind often involve criminals who believe they won't be caught. The timeline gets even harder to explain when you realize how long they stayed inside. They had enough time that one unexpected interruption could have ended the entire plan. Yet nothing did. That suggests either unbelievable luck or knowledge that the risk was lower than it should have been. After the thieves left, there was no quick arrest, no clean recovery, and no dramatic reveal. Instead, the case became a long war between evidence and disappearance. Investigators chased tips, underworld rumors, and shifting claims. But again and again, leads collapsed, and there's a brutal reason for that. Masterpieces can be moved like contraband, hidden for years, traded between criminals, or buried as insurance. Every option creates a new mystery. If the art was meant to be sold, why has it never resurfaced? If it was meant as leverage, why hasn't it been used? And if it's hidden, who can sit on a fortune they can't safely cash out? Over the years, the FBI has publicly said it investigated major theories and known criminals. Yet, the art remains missing, because finding suspects is one problem, and finding stolen masterpieces is another. And that's why this heist never fades. The stolen works became famous for being missing. The empty space became part of the story. And every time a new tip appears, the same question returns. If someone really knows where the art is, why hasn't the $500 million ghost been forced back into the light? So the final mystery isn't only who did it, it's why this art. Because stolen masterpieces are difficult to sell and dangerous to keep. That's why many investigators and experts have suggested a hard truth. The artwork may have been taken as underworld currency. Not something to enjoy, but something to trade. Collateral for protection, payment for a debt, or leverage in a negotiation that never became public. If that's true, the paintings may have changed hands many times among people who never cared about art, only power. But there's another possibility, and it's colder. The thieves succeeded, panicked, and hid the pieces so well, or damaged them so badly, that recovery may never happen. And that would mean the real loss isn't just money, it's culture measured in absence. Either way, the Gardner Museum heist leaves a perfect ending for a true mystery channel. Empty frames still hanging, a reward still waiting, and somewhere, maybe in a basement, a storage unit, or behind a locked door, the $500 million ghost still exists, silent, unseen, and waiting for the one mistake that finally brings it back. If you want more true documentary mysteries like this, subscribe to The Case Brief. Because in stories like these, the truth doesn't vanish, it hides.